And this was the legacy that Hugo Chavez brought to Haiti. And he was celebrated by the Haitian people when he marched with them in 2007 prior to that. So, as Ramsey Clark said 10 years ago at a meeting, many of you may have been at it, at Riverside Church, Hugo Chavez is a giant in the history of Latin America, maybe even greater than Simon Bolivar. Thank you very much.
Here we go. Long live Haiti. All solidarity with the Haitian people. You know, there's a saying that I like, the slogan in Creole. I used to work with a Haitian woman. They say, "Coupete pour les cailles." That's a chop off the head of the slave master and burn their plantation. We want to try to say it. Coupete pour les cailles. Coupete pour les cailles. Coupete pour les cailles. Coupete pour les cailles. Viva Haiti. Pour les cailles. Viva. So the next person I'm going to have up is a person from the December 12th movement. This Pan-Africanist organization that's also fighting against sanctions against Zimbabwe. No to sanctions in any place, even in Zimbabwe, in our mother Africa. So a round of applause to the comrades.
Greetings from the December 12th movement. Again, we are here to honor the memory and the lasting legacy of Comrade Hugo Chavez on the anniversary of his death. Again, the December 12th movement was honored to attend in 2018 a conference that they held in regard to national liberation and reparations, because, as again, Hugo Chavez was always almost in his mind the liberation of all oppressed people throughout the world, from Africa, Latin America, and even the United States. So again, as was just mentioned, he was particularly with the sanctions being lifted against the country of Zimbabwe, which the December 12th movement also honors. And again, Hugo Chavez was a man of the people. He freely admitted that he was an Afro-Venezuelan and that he had African roots, and we always want to acknowledge that in his solidarity with the people throughout the world who are struggling to be free. And again, we say, lift the sanctions against Zimbabwe, lift the sanctions against Cuba, lift the sanctions against Venezuela. And again, we send our condolences and our support to Nicolas Maduro and his struggle to maintain the Bolivarian revolution in Venezuela. The December 12th movement again says freedom or death to Venezuelan and their struggle to be free and free from oppression and national subjugation. Thank you. Take care.
No to sanctions in Zimbabwe. Let's make some noise for the December 12th movement. You already know that when I think about Chavez, I always think about a quote he once said. He said that, the media, the Venezuelan opposition, that's mostly like white and Creole, made fun of him because of his lips and of his hair being very Afro-descendant. And he said us in Latin America that we have many different mothers, but the most beautiful mother of them all is Africa. He used to always express that. So we have to give him a round of applause for him always being proud of his African heritage and throughout the whole continent. So the next person we're gonna have up is from the Mexican party Morena, Isaac Ramirez. Bravo! We send our greetings and solidarity to President AMLO, Andrés López Obrador, who's been a comrade to many of the anti-imperialist governments in Latin America. Que viva AMLO!
Viva! Viva AMLO! Viva Mexico!
How you doing, guys?
Woo!
There you go. Okay. Today, we thank Lucy and the movement for inviting us. We are in solidarity as a movement with the people of Latinoamerica, because we had the same struggles for 200 years, more than 200 years. The Monroe Doctrine has invaded us, suppress us, because as you may know, Mexico has had a lot of trouble with the neoliberalism, con el neoliberalismo. And we struggled for so many years, and our people had been stepped on for so many years as the people in Latin America. And that's why today we support you guys. We stand in solidarity with you guys, people of Latin America. ¡Viva Chávez!
¡Viva!
¡Viva México!
¡Viva!
¡Viva Andrés Manuel!
¡Viva!
It's time to unite all of us, Latin America, and stop the U.S. government from applying this doctrine. No more this doctrine. Hands off our countries, and let us progress in our own ways, because we can do it. We can progress. But how can they call themselves with the humanitarians when they are putting to our countries how you call that? Sanctions, to put sanctions. How can they put sanctions in Cuba for so many years? Long live Cuba! Viva Cuba! For standing up against this giant who had stepped on them for so many years. Our president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, is in solidarity with your people, because he knows what has been happening. He knows history, and that teaches us every day. That's why many people from other countries, they love our president. Mexico is living this New Year's, is living a new era, the fourth transformation of our country. And he comes to the U.S. and he says, no more. You can't take decisions for us, because we are a nation, we are a sovereign nation. Nobody else can take their decisions for us but us, the people.
That's right.
And the same thing with each country in Latin America. They should take their own decisions. Not let U.S. Put their hands on it. No more U.S. in the hands of our countries.
No more.
¡Viva Chávez!
¡Viva Chávez! ¡Que viva México!
¡Viva México! ¡Viva López Obrador!
¡Viva!
¡Viva México! ¡El pueblo de Emiliano Zapata y Pancho Villa! The people of Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa. You know, there's always a quote I always love to think about, that people, we didn't cross the border crossed us. You know what I mean? We always have to always remember the U.S. stole lands from the Mexican people, which is today California and Texas, isn't even the state of New Mexico. How can it be New
Everybody
Mexico?
knows, all
You know?
the world knows that.
Yes. That was imperialism. And that's what Chávez understood. Chávez was able to reclaim the original people, who's American and who's truly American, you know, in our Americas, Abayala. So the next person we're going to have up is from the Honduras, from Libre, from the people, Francisco Murazar, and Manuel Zelaya, and Xiomara Castro.
Can I just say that I feel so proud? This is International Women's Month, right? Working Women's Month, Socialist Women's Month. And in Honduras, we have the only Spanish-speaking president of Latin America, Xiomara Castro de Zelaya. We feel very proud of that. To have the only commander-in-chief be a woman. But not only that, at the Supreme Court level, recently we just elected the first Supreme Court, post-narco dictatorship back
compañero here, the comrade here, is going to speak in Spanish, and I'm going to interpret.
Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Joseph Díaz.
Más pegado.
Sí, buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Joseph Díaz, miembro del Partido Libre de 19, Estados Unidos, Costa Rica, Canadá. Hoy quiero enviar mi mensaje de solidaridad para el pueblo de Venezuela y estamos recordando hoy, conmemorando la siembra del comandante Hugo Chávez Frías.
So my name is Joseph Diaz. I am part of the D12 Libre Party that's connected with the U.S. and Canada. I am glad to be here to celebrate the planting of Commander Hugo Chávez.
Sí, estamos recordando la siembra del comandante Hugo Chávez, especialmente porque él con el pueblo de Honduras fue muy solidario durante su gobierno. Él implementó la fórmula Petrocaribe en Honduras, que nos trajo combustibles más baratos. Lo mismo redujeron la canasta básica, se redujo el precio de la energía. Entonces él siempre demostró un amor para todo el pueblo de Honduras. Entonces por eso ese día hoy yo estoy acá personalmente para recordar su siembra y toda la lucha.
So I can never forget that Hugo Chavez, Commander Hugo Chavez, was always in solidarity with the Honduran people, with the programs like Petrocaribe, where he would sell affordable gas, oil to the people of Honduras. That would be very low price when it comes to energy and all these other prices. And this is why us people in Honduras, we can never forget the solidarity that Commander Hugo Chavez gave to our people, and this is why we are celebrating his planting.
De igual manera también estamos para agradecerle también a toda la gente hoy aquí presente, los compañeros de distintos países. Veo que hay personas de México, de Colombia, de Venezuela. Muchas gracias por haber estado hoy acá. También quiero recordar que debido a la implementación de Petrocaribe, que fue la fórmula que trajo combustibles a precios más accesibles, fue lo que causó el derrocamiento de nuestro presidente constitucional electo en el 2009, José Manuel Zelaya Rosales. Debido a su relación que tenía con el pueblo de Venezuela y el presidente Chávez, causó que los grupos de poder de Honduras, fácticos, apoyados por el imperialismo norteamericano y la embajada de Estados Unidos, le dieron un golpe de Estado al presidente electo. Son cosas que en Honduras todavía seguimos. Implementó una narcodictadura por 12 años después de eso. Recientemente, gracias a Dios, ya el pueblo otra vez está en el poder, pero todavía las secuelas de haber tenido una dictadura, un narcogobierno, que ahora el que era presidente, Juan Orlando Hernández, está preso aquí en Estados Unidos por narcotráfico. Entonces siempre fueron presidentes apoyados por la derecha, los grupos de poder del país y por la embajada norteamericana.
Oh, that was kind of long, but I can translate all of that. So, what basically he was saying is that he said about how he's happy to be here in this commemoration. He sees different countries from Latin America, whether it's Colombia or Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, Brazil's right there, and also just commemorating the contributions that Commander Chavez did with selling affordable gas and energies to the people of Honduras, having Honduras get closer to the Petrocaribe program, which initiated the coup d'etat in 2009 of ex-president Manuel Zelaya, and the reason of this being is because of Manuel Zelaya getting closer to the Petrocaribe program, and all of this was organized by the right wing and by the United States, by the U.S. imperialists. So we are happy 12 years later, within the struggle of this narco dictatorship that we had, that we were able to regain our democracy, and we see that we have to defend it now more than ever today, and also lifting the memory of Commander Hugo Chavez.
Sí, bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos entonces, ¿verdad?, por su atención. Que tengan buenas tardes y hasta la victoria siempre, ¿verdad? Venceremos.
Thank you for having me, and you already know, until victory. So Michelle, we have Michelle here from the Friends of the ATC, that's la Asociación Trabajador del Campo, representing Nicaragua. Yo quiero viva Sandino. long live the Nicaraguan Sandinista revolution. Now we have Venezuela, we had Cuba, and now we have Nicaragua. Part of our troika of resistance.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you on the 10th anniversary of the death of Comandante Chávez. Just earlier today, Comandante Daniel Ortega was arriving in Caracas along with other dignitaries like Evo Morales, Rafael Correa, and Raúl Castro. And I think it's very important that these people are taking time out of their day to come to Caracas to remember Hugo Chávez's legacy. I'm here representing the Friends of the ATC, which is the World Workers Association Nicaragua, which is a revolutionary organization that was born right alongside the Sandinista Revolution in '79. And I think when we think of revolution and revolutionary continuity, a revolution isn't just about revolution in one country, it's a revolution to the world. So without the Cuban Revolution, we wouldn't have the Sandinista Revolution. And without both of those, we wouldn't have had the Bolivarian Revolution. Each of those are separated by a period of 20 years. And we think of the Cuban medical system, which has informed the medical systems in Nicaragua and Venezuela. Those are gifts to the world. And so, revolution is about continuity. It's about developing the highest pinnacle of human development possible. And so, I am so honored to be here to talk about Nicaragua and Venezuela and Cuba and how those three have resisted the project of American empire for so long. It's really a blessing that Venezuela continues resisting. And I think about also the fact that things that are crises can be turned into opportunities through the process of revolution. In 1989, we saw the Caracazo, which was the first protest against the IMF, against the project of neoliberalism, which began in that time period. And today, Nicaragua is still standing as a model revolution in defending and supporting the project of regional integration. I also think it was 2011 when there were huge. Okay, sorry.
Testing.
I believe there were huge landslides in Venezuela in 2011, La Guaira. Tens of thousands of people died and lost their homes. And this was the soil with which Gran Misión Vivienda began in Venezuela to provide 5 million homes at free cost to the population. Today, we are in the year 2023, and we're closer than ever to 5 million homes built. And that's basically the majority of which has been built after Chávez left. But without his revolutionary legacy and without his foresight, we wouldn't be here. And so I'm just very happy to see where the Bolivarian process develops and happy to continue defending the project and the project of Latin American regional integration here in the U.S.
Give a round of applause to our compañera Michelle from the Friends of the ATC. Long live the Sandinista Revolution! Long live the Cuban Revolution! Long live the Bolivarian Revolution! All three sister revolutions, the troika of resistance. Long live Commander Daniel Ortega! ¡Que viva Comandante Daniel Ortega! ¡Que viva Sandino! ¡Que viva la patria del Comandante Carlos Fonseca! So the next person we're going to have up is Bill Doris from Struggle to Lucha.
It's an honor to be here today. We are here today to honor a hero, a champion, a fighter for the people, for the working class in Venezuela, in all Latin America, and all over the world. A man who is beloved, was still beloved across Latin America, across Africa, across Asia. You see his picture in the
and in the Bronx, and on the native reservations, and in Appalachia, where the Venezuelan Bolivarian government provided free oil and cheap oil to the people, which the U.S. government does not allow. And equally as he is beloved by the oppressed people of the world, he is hated by the U.S. corporate ruling class, by the bankers and financiers and oil magnates. They hate him because he took the oil wealth of Venezuela and used it to build 4.2 million housing units for free for the people, for the poor, for the working class. Why can't the profits of ExxonMobil and Chevron be taken to build housing for the people here instead of these million dollar apartments for rich parasites? When the U.S. invasion of Iraq succeeded in pushing energy prices, oil and gas prices through the roof, Bolivarian Venezuela provided cheap or low-cost oil to oppressed communities here, to the Bronx, to Appalachia, to the native reservations. And so the U.S. government sanctioned Venezuela to stop the oil from coming in. They don't want people to have cheap oil. They don't want people to have to heat in the winter. They want people to have to choose between heating and eating. When Haiti was devastated by the earthquake, Venezuela provided free oil to the people of Haiti, and the United States government blocked it, used its economic and military power to starve the people of Haiti and prevent them from getting Venezuelan aid, to destroy Venezuela's oil industry. And now they are using a new war, the U.S.-provoked war in Ukraine. It is a U.S.-provoked war to increase sanctions around the world. They're sanctioning Venezuela. They're sanctioning Syria. They're sanctioning Zimbabwe. They're sanctioning Russia. They're sanctioning Iran. They're sanctioning anybody who doesn't pay tribute to U.S. corporations, to Wall Street. That's why working-class people and oppressed people in this country have to stand with Venezuela, because Venezuela, Bolivarian Venezuela, and Hugo Chávez and Nicolas Maduro stand for us. They are our friends. So we say victory to the people of Venezuela. All the U.S. has brought to Latin America is Operation Condor and terrorism and coups. While Venezuela, Bolivarian Venezuela, under the guidance of Comandante Hugo Chávez, is helping and standing for working class and oppressed people here. Long live Bolivarian Venezuela, end the sanctions, U.S. out of Latin America, all power to the working class.
With powerful words from Bill Doris, from Struggle and Lucha. Give a round of applause. The next person we're going to have is his brother that I have a lot of love for because he was part of the organizing of this event. We could have done this without his talented artwork with the flyer, the amazing flyer. I wanted to call up the comrade Richie from Workers' World Party.
Se siente, Chávez está presente, se siente, Chávez está presente, se siente, Chávez está presente, se siente, Chávez está presente. So, greetings everyone, my name is Richie, I'm with Workers World, International Action Center, Bronx Anti-War Coalition. You can find me anywhere where there's opposition to U.S. imperialism, where there's opposition to capitalism, where there is opposition to the warmongers in Congress. It doesn't matter if they are a Democrat, doesn't matter if they are Republican. They are all U.S. imperialists, and that's what we need to remember, that we cannot go with the lesser of two evils narrative. We need to be in opposition to this imperialist and warmongering government, no matter who's in the White House. But the reason I wanted to speak today is because I want to talk about sanctions and what makes sanctions work. We got to understand that imperialism, at the end of the day, is an economic system. It is the United States and Europe and their control of the IMF, their control of the World Bank, their control of the international payment systems, and it's US dollar hegemony. So when it comes to supporting Venezuela and supporting Cuba and supporting all of the nations that are sanctioned by the US government, we need to support those leaders around the world that are trying to end US hegemony and are fighting for multipolarity and are fighting for an alternative international payment system. All right? So our goal right now as revolutionaries, as socialists, inside of the Imperial Core, our goal right now should be to oppose our own U.S. government. It should not be to point out the contradictions that exist in other nations around the world. We understand that wherever capitalism exists, there will be contradictions. Our job is to oppose our own bourgeois government, okay? So that we can let other nations develop on their own, whichever is their best way forward. All right, so I just want to leave you with the message that we need to fight against U.S. dollar hegemony. I know economics isn't sexy whatsoever, but we need to start paying attention to these things because the wars are not just fought in a military sense. The wars are fought economically, so we need to be paying attention to that as well. So I just want to say that there's a lot of great organizations here that are doing work to fight this economic system of subjugation that the U.S. imposes. They're imposing this neoliberalism on Latin America, and the people are rising up. So let's support them by opposing our own U.S. government. That is our enemy right here. All right. Thank you very much. Se siente, Chávez está presente. Se siente, Chávez está presente.
Here we go. Let's give a round of applause for Richie for that awesome flyer that he did. So the next person we're gonna have up, and this is gonna be like come straight from my heart. As a Colombian American, we're gonna have Lourdes speak on behalf of the Colombian people. Colombia is a sister nation of Venezuela. We are Bolivarians too, and we are now more than ever Bolivarians. We're our new popular government of Gustavo Petro and Francia Marquez.
How you feeling? Better? Good? Warming?
¡Viva Maduro!
¡Viva Maduro! ¡Viva Maduro! Maduro sigue, sigue. Chávez vive, vive. Maduro sigue, sigue. Chávez vive, vive. Maduro sigue, sigue. Chávez vive, vive. Maduro sigue, sigue.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Pegado.
Mi nombre es Lourdes. Yo soy de Colombia. Yo soy del territorio más denso de indígenas de los Andes colombianos. Para mí, yo quería tomar un minuto de silencio primero en memoria del presidente Chávez.
Siga hablando. No hay que ignorarnos.
¡Chávez vive!
¡La lucha sigue! ¡Chávez vive! ¡La lucha sigue! ¡Chávez vive! ¡La lucha sigue! ¡Chávez vive! ¡La lucha sigue! ¡Chávez vive! ¡La lucha sigue!
Yo me acuerdo varias veces de tener la oportunidad de estar al pie de donde estaba el presidente Chávez y siempre había un espíritu tan especial cuando el presidente Chávez estaba en el cuarto. Aquí él llegó a Harlem a hablar y de verdad es a mí todavía me llena de lágrimas porque el presidente Chávez dejó unas semillas tan fuertes y eso hoy en día podemos ver en Colombia. Es la primera vez en la historia de Colombia que tenemos un gobierno que representa al 99%. I was just saying that for me, President Chavez will always be so special. I remember hearing him speak in Harlem and having the privilege of being in different conferences where he was. And the spirit that he brought with him everywhere was just so special. And the seed that he has left in South America and all of Latin America and the Caribbean, and even in Palestine, the people in Palestine love President Chavez. And we see that seed today in Colombia with the first time ever in history that we have a president that represents the 99% and not the 1%. Um, Similar to what happened in Venezuela with the Caracazo, we had La Toma del Palacio, where over 3,000 people died. And this was all at the hands of the elite. So, although today we are, even though we have Gustavo Petro, which represents the 99%, and an Afro-Colombian with Francia Marquez, who is the vice president, we are still, the opposition is fiercely still fighting a lot of the changes that Petro is trying to put through. So I just want to thank President Chavez for the time he was on this earth. And yes, he has multiplied in us and in the president now in Colombia and our vice president, Francia Marquez. Thank you. Viva Chavez!
¡Viva Chávez!
Just want to say, just like my brother here, Camilo Matos, let's not forget that this brother right here, Simon Bolivar, back when he was leading the charges to free the other countries, the main country he wanted to free was Puerto Rico and Cuba. That's right. His lieutenant, a Boricua named Antonio Valero, was there with him. And also the sister, when they mentioned sisters, you see this flag right here? That was designed by sisters, okay? The Pito Lagares was led by sisters. So, join me. ¡Que viva la mujer boricua! ¡Que viva! ¡Que viva la revolución! ¡Que viva! ¡Puerto Rico libre!
So, independencia para Puerto Rico. Independencia
¡Para Puerto Rico!
que viva Puerto Rico libre y socialista. So just really quickly, what Sister Lourdes was touching on, I just want to say, as a Colombian American who was born here, I would say that Chavez was able to reconnect me to my roots and for me to understand my connection to my Bolivarian heritage. And I'm very happy to be in front of the statue of Simon Bolivar, of a grand liberator, and proud to say that I'm a Bolivarian and Chavista seed within the empire. And, it's like right now with the new president, Gustavo Petro, making these connections, reopening relations with Venezuela after Colombia has been utilized as a proxy state to fight against the sister nation Venezuela. Now with Gustavo Petro opening ties with the legitimate president Nicolas Maduro, it reminds me of a lyric of this famous Venezuelan folk singer, Ali Primera, where he's saying that the Orinoco y Magdalena se abrazarán. Those are two rivers that tie Colombia and Venezuela together. So long live the unity between Colombia and Venezuela. Far down, as I mentioned, Colombia and Venezuela, another country that I'm going to bring up that has the same tricolors as our flag is our sister nation Ecuador. La patria de Antonio José de Sucre, de Adiós Alfaro, de Manuelita Sáenz. We talk about women. She was known as the Libertadora Libertador. And also of Rafael Correa. So I would like to call up the Comrade Wellington. And on top of that, he sold everything that we have in Ecuador, everything, every industry, every industry in Ecuador that we built up with Korea in 10 years of revolution, he's given up to imperialism. He's given up to the multi-corporations. And that is a fraud. That is penalty. We in Ecuador, we're trying to get rid of him. I don't think he's going to last his 4 years of presidential. But he's in cahoots with the government of the United States. He's in cahoots with the multi-corporations. And just not long ago, United States gave to the government of Ecuador $100 million to be able to maintain to the people to go to the streets. Because that's what they do. That's what corporations do. They go to our countries, they exploit our natural resources, and they repress our people. They create crisis. They sell our corporate, sell our industries, and they give our people the worst case scenario and situations that we have no way of living right now. The security in Ecuador is so bad. We cannot leave the houses without thinking that we're going to come back home alive. Right now, it's so critical in Ecuador. And this is the type of government that we have. And people don't know this. People don't know. They think that he's doing building houses. He's creating schools. That's what the speeches that he has. But he lies to the country. He lies to the people. He lies to the world. But we know that he doesn't do nothing. He's been lying for many years after Moreno being a traitor. Moreno was the vice president of Korea. And he became a traitor after he became a president of Ecuador. The people in Ecuador want Korea back. And he's ready. Not too long ago, we have a victory. We have a victory in Ecuador. We all want Korea. We all want Korea to come back and to take over the political situation in Ecuador, because that's what we need. And Chávez has been an example for the Latin America. In Latin America, we need to be together. All the countries of Latin America, we need to become together against the imperialists, against the corporations. So long live to Chávez, long live to the people of Venezuela, long live to the people of Cuba, long live to the people of Nicaragua, long live to the people that struggle for a better country, for a better world. Thank you very much. ¡Que viva la patria grande! ¡Alerta! 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 ¡Alerta que camina! ¡La espada de Bolívar por América Latina! ¡Alerta! ¡Alerta! ¡Alerta que camina! ¡La espada de Bolívar por América Latina! ¡El pueblo unido jamás será vencido! ¡Hasta la victoria siempre, compañeros! ¡Esperemos! ¡Que viva el Ecuador!
¡Que viva!
¡Que viva el presidente Rafael Correa!
¡Que viva!
¡Para regresar la revolución ciudadana! ¡Fuera, fuera Lazo! So something interesting about Ecuador, about Venezuela, and about Colombia, we were all one country, also including Panama, known as the Great Colombia. And that was the great vision of Simón Bolívar, the final liberator that we're in front of, to have a unified Latin America against imperialist forces United States. And this is why we are here, because this year marks the 200th anniversary of the Monroe Doctrine. That great doctrine which the United States proclaimed themselves as the Americans in the Americas. We are all the Americans. Whether, I mean, there's different definitions, but people from Central America, Mexico, South America, the Caribbean, we are all Americans. And this is the type of thing that Jose Marti, the Cuban revolutionary, wrote about in Nuestra America. So long live President Hugo Chávez. Long live the Bolivarianism, fighting against Monroeism. Right, have a chat. Down, down with Monroe. Up with Bolivar. Down. Up with Bolivar. There we go. So now the next group, the next nation I'm going to call up is a country that's one of the biggest in South America. Our querido country of Brazil, where they had a victory that they were able to take out the fascists like Jair Bolsonaro, who's in Florida. Who's Bolsonaro? But viva Lula! Lula! From Defend Democracy in Brazil.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
All comrades from all Latin American countries, we Brazilians representing here the resistance of the Brazilians in New York City. We are here to say no to the embargo to Venezuela. Que viva Presidente Chávez. His legacy to the struggle of all Latin America. As we know, in the 90s, they came with this all neoliberal policies imposing to our countries the suffering, the poverty of the people. In the beginning of the 2000s, we, with our struggle, we conquered governments all over Latin America. Brazil, Venezuela, Peru now, and Ecuador. Together, we created the BRICS in South America. Together, we resist imperialism. But the imperialists, they could not tolerate it, that the natural resources of our countries, especially our oil, in Venezuela, in Brazil, and all over, was given for education, for culture, for housing. They don't want that. And that's why they go with this embargo. They don't want Brazil giving the oil to the education, and they did a coup d'etat in Brazil. It was 7 long years of resistance. But here we are, back with our leaders. Hugo Chávez, President Lula in power. We are here again to reestablish diplomatic relations with Venezuela. And we will collaborate. But I want to say on a land for us that are here in the socialist front, we have to keep vigilant for Brazil to support Venezuela in all their needs, to go back into exchange, no accepting any pressure that we will go back in our friendship and our solidarity with Venezuela. We, the socialists of Brazil, the people who understand that we do have a government of alliance, but the government is our government. And we resist all this time. We, the friends of Venezuela. So Brazil will help Venezuela and we will keep in solidarity. Thank you very much. Venezuela and Brazil, friends forever. Thank you. A la lucha, compañeros y compañeras.
Lula sí.
Muito obrigado, compañera. Yes, la luta continúa, like they say in Brazil. La luta continúa. So the next person we're gonna have comrades from the Dominican Republic speak. La República Dominicana. Eso.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Un honor para mí que me den la palabra. Es un acto tan significativo como es este, a nuestra hermana República de Venezuela, a nuestro eterno comandante Hugo Chávez Fría, en solidaridad permanente con el presidente Nicolás Maduro. Mi nombre es Jorgeline Morel y hablo en nombre del Movimiento Popular Dominicano, MPD. Pero hablo además en nombre de los ciudadanos y ciudadanas dominicanos y dominicanas que no podemos olvidar la solidaridad que nos demostró el presidente Hugo Chávez Fría, el comandante eterno. Una solidaridad que en el presente repercute en nuestro país. Perdón, que el compañero Batman.
I'm gonna translate. It was very long, but she was saying, "Good afternoon to everybody. What a pleasure to be here to commemorate, have this commemoration of the sister nation of Venezuela and commemorate Commander Hugo Chavez. I come from a popular movement of Dominicans here in New York City, where we mobilize the Dominican citizenship, the Dominican diaspora here in New York City, and it's an honor to be here. That we can never forget the solidarity that Hugo Chavez showed to our homeland.
Te decía que hablo en nombre del Movimiento Popular Dominicano, MPD, y un camarada de este movimiento, quien se llamó Amin Abel, escribió antes de ser asesinado por el gobierno opresor del año 1970, encabezado por Joaquín Balaguer. Este camarada, Amin Abel, dejó un escrito titulado América Latina busca su camino. Y hoy vemos que el camarada estaba en los ciertos. América Latina busca su camino. Y lo vemos en el hermano pueblo venezolano.
So I come here representing the popular movement of Dominicans. I come here representing after a woman comrade. ¿Cómo se llama la mujer? Amina Velez. Amina Velez. Amin Abel. That she wrote. She was present against the right wing administration of Joaquin Balaguer. And she wrote about how Latin America is finding its own path, how Latin America finds its own struggle, its own path, its own destiny, and that we see it now more than ever with the sister nation of Venezuela.
América Latina busca su camino. Lo vemos en Venezuela, decía, lo vemos en Honduras, lo vemos en Colombia, lo seguimos viendo en todos los países como Brasil. Y lo vamos a seguir viendo, y lo vamos a seguir viendo, porque esta lucha de años, esta lucha de siglos, ya empieza a rendir su fruto. Y para esto necesitamos continuar unidos todos los pueblos que buscamos la autodeterminación de los pueblos. Hoy, decía, es un honor que me den la palabra en este momento. La revolución bolivariana cuenta con los pueblos hermanos que demuestren esa solidaridad, y eso es lo que debemos hacer permanentemente.
So yes, it's a big honor to be here to speak in commemoration of the Bolivarian Revolution and how the Bolivarian Revolution is demonstrating new pathways for Latin America and how many other of the sister nations within the continent have to join forces and support and defend the Bolivarian Revolution. So what an honor it was to speak here.
Finalizo dándole las gracias nuevamente y recordando que la autodeterminación de los pueblos amerita de mucho sacrificio, pero que ese sacrificio, como hasta hoy, va a seguir rindiendo sus frutos. Compañeros, compañeras, la lucha es ardua, el camino que falta por recorrer también lo es, pero de nosotros depende que la revolución bolivariana se mantenga de pie. No van a vencer a Venezuela, no van a vencer a Pedro en Colombia, no van a vencer a Mara en Honduras, no van a vencer a Lula en Brasil, no van a vencer la nueva presidenta de Brasil, presidente de Brasil. Vamos a seguir unidos, no nos vencerán, no nos moverán. Gracias, compañeros y compañeras. Eterno comandante, Hugo Chávez presente.
Vencido, el pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
El pueblo
Unido jamás será vencido.
y no nos da la gana de hacer una colonia norteamericana.
Y no.
Y si nos da la gana de ser una potencia latinoamericana. Vamos a hacerlo otra vez. Y
No nos da la gana.
de ser una colonia norteamericana. Y si nos da la gana de ser una potencia latinoamericana. ¡Que viva la Unión Latinoamericana! ¡Que viva la patria grande! Vamos a tener un compañero de Pakistán. We're going to have a comrade from Pakistan, from Asia. Hugo Chávez was a fan of global solidarity with the peoples of, correctly, of the third world, but of Asia, Africa, you know, building South by South ties.
Hello. Peace for everybody. It's really honor for me as a Pakistani nation who never ever feel any defeat and any fear in challenging the imperialists. And the superpower, I can't say the name, United States after the Second World War, which is a superpower, but it's a super criminal against the whole world. As an immigrant and as a Muslim, I can tell you that at this moment, how much we were proud to stand with our Islamists, how much we are proud to stand with the Palestinians, and how much we feel proud to stand with the Kashmiri people. A lot of people don't know in this world that no nation sacrificed the people, human life, human babies, more than the Kashmir Valley people. Against the Indian, 900,000 army occupied Kashmir Valley since 1947. So I'm from that nation, but I'm really proud to stand with you. Every speaker who speaks over here, they tell the truth. And they talk about the hero of the conscious, Mr. Hugo Chávez. The hero of the conscious of the world regarding about Cuban leadership, Dr. Che. And Honduras people, the latest struggle of the Honduras people, and especially the women, the struggle of the Honduras women, as a teacher, as a journalist, I'm really proud. And never forget the struggle of the Haitian people. They suffered, but they are the first African nation who got the freedom to take the white people. And let me be honest with you, in the history, if I ask you anybody who was the first leader in the world who ended the slavery, I can tell you, 1400 years before, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my prophet, last prophet, he ends the slavery in the world. He said no more slavery. And he said that women have the same rights. So at this moment, let's stand and remember our heroes. Let's fight and stand with the African nations. And I hope the best for the Nigerian people who just got the election. And I hope the South African people, which has the highest rate crime and corruption in Vietnam. The reason is this: anytime when you got liberation and you kicked your occupiers, when you kick the colonials like a UK, like a now the America, and the European Union, you have a big problem that your leadership compromised. Your leadership, your leaders and unions, they compromise in the for the freedom. But the message is very clear from those countries, from that nation which they are called most illiterate, have no money, have no money. I'm talking about the Taliban. 21st century, the freedom fighters and the winner of the freedom fighters is the Taliban in Afghanistan. What's their crime? They just want to rule there by their own, not by the Washington, not by the Moscow, not by the Brazilian. No. They don't want to rule by anybody. They just want to rule. Yes, they have a lot of problems. They have free education. They need more industry. At this moment, my country, United States, where I'm having this moment, they confiscated their $10 billion belong to the poor Afghanistan. So we are here for the freedom of speech. This picture is belongs to Julian Assange. I'm here standing as a leader of the Indian movement. Free Julian Assange. And when you say free Julian Assange, we have to say the woman, greatest woman from Pakistan, Dr. Afia Siddiqui, who got the 86-year jail as a woman in this country without any charges, without any proof of the gun and residue. Why? Because he challenged the imperialist power, superpower. But as a doctor, as a Harvard student, I'm proud of my Pakistani lady. She's in jail in Texas somewhere. Dr. Afia, we are with you. And I want to say thank you for everybody who was in the part of the movement for the better life of the asylum seekers, for the better life of the immigrant people over here, and the migrant people. And we are stand with every whistleblower to tell us what's the portrait done by Washington. But it is all big people. So please keep your struggle. Yes, sometimes we have a big problem among us. But the goal is very clear. We cannot accept any colonial, any occupier in this world. We want to get rid of banks, IMF, this kind of stuff, because they are the tools, these international NGOs, just like they use the United Nations. So we have very much clear, and we are giving the message from this New York today, that we will follow the footsteps of the rich Hugo Chávez, who never keep the money in their own banks. No, he gives the money to the poor nation. Look in the Bronx. He helps the people over there. Give the oil. $4 billion somebody told me to give to the other countries. So we need this kind of leadership, care about the other people, other nations. And you are one of those which I think I have to do all of you. Thank you. Thank you everybody. Long live freedom, long live free countries, long live the United Nations Charter and the women's rights. Thank you very much.
Long live international solidarity. That was a big component of Commander Hugo Chávez. Wanted to make connections, not just in Latin America, but with the peoples of the world, side by side relations, and especially to the people of the United States, the oppressed, which he always taught his Venezuelan people that there's a difference between the government of the United States and the people of the United States. He once said that the day that imperialism gets overthrown, the people will live in peace and tranquility. He called the people of the United States the righteous people, the people of Dr. Martin Luther King. And that's who we are. We are the people of Dr. Martin Luther King, of Malcolm X, of Freddie Lou Hamer. Long live. And now, the next person I'm going to have speak, he's going to speak on behalf of the Free Alex Saab campaign. But it's a grand honor, because there's a comrade, a compa of mine, of the Traker Collective. And this person right here was a person that when I went to Venezuela my first time in 2019 in the student university congress. I have been to Venezuela twice, but my first time was with this guy right here. And, in Instagram and social media, you know him as a Gringo Chavista, but his name is Dakota Lily. So Dakota.
Right. Woo!
Hello.
Whoa.
So I want to talk a little bit about Alex Saab, someone who was fulfilling the mission that Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro were put on this earth to do, and that is bring food to the Venezuelan people, bring medicine to the Venezuelan people. And how has this turned out for Alex Saab? He is currently in a prison in South Florida, and that is the true crime. How dare the United States, who has sanctioned and murdered and sponsored coups and done economic warfare and unilateral coercive measures, how dare they imprison a man for feeding the hungry? Hungry people who were caused once again by the same sanctions that the United States has placed on Venezuela. And that is the unforgivable crime to the oligarchy in the United States and in Latin America. Bring food and medicine, healthcare, education, and housing. It's the same reason that they hated Hugo Chavez, the same reason that they hate Rafael Correa and Evo Morales and Cristina Fernández de Kirchner and Lula da Silva and Dilma Rousseff and so many others. Raúl Castro, Fidel Castro, AMLO, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Daniel Ortega, Zelaya, Xiomara Castro, so many people that we can look to. And people in the United States, poor people, workers, women, students, professors, everyone needs to look at these beautiful examples, especially in Latin America. They called the 90s in much of Latin America the lost decade. But in the 2000s and in much of the 2010s, we had a Juan decade. Middle class in Argentina doubled. Education, food, housing. These are things that people, for the very first time in their lives, they experience under the leadership of these people. No one can put a price on the first time one sees a dentist. The first time one feels they are allowed to smile because now they have the dentures that they finally need. This is the example of Chavez, the example of Alex Saab, the example of the last 20 years in America Latina, and that is the main threat that they pose. The threat of a good example to the people of the United States. Thank you.
Round of applause for the Dakota Lily, the Gringo Chavista. This is what Chavez has done. He's even turned gringos into Chavistas. So we say, free Alex Saab! Free Alex Saab! Free Alex Saab! Free Alex Saab! So I want to propose, before we leave, with the group that's still here, we're going to end very soon, that we should create a group or a coalition in freeing Alex Saab. Because we need to be in constant solidarity within the belly of the beast against these sanctions, against these illegal unilateral coercive measures that are made to starve the people of Venezuela. That's why when they want to say, why are Venezuelans migrating out of Venezuela, it is not because of socialism. It is not because of a regime. It is because of the sanctions that is asphyxiating the economy of Venezuela. And this is why we have to do the work here, compañeros, compañeras, to be in solidarity and to demand the United States lift these illegal unilateral coercive measures on the people of Venezuela, on people of Cuba and Nicaragua and the other 40 countries. So it starts with us doing campaigns like freeing Alex Saab, who's a hero to the Venezuelan people. Viva Alex Saab! Viva Maduro! Viva Chávez! Viva Bolívar! Okay, so if we haven't, nobody else to speak, we can end it, or that's it, or look, people can take a candle?
Yes, yes. And we'll see. If we don't take the candles, they're going to throw them away. And you know it was hard to keep them lit because of the wind. So if you want to take one candle and light it in your house in memory of President Hugo Chávez, we really appreciate that. So each of you can take a candle. Also, let's hope that next year we'll do the same thing and we'll bring more people to be here by the statue of Bolivar, right? Our amazing prócer libertario, el prócer libertador, and to continue the legacy of Chávez and to continue to pay homage to the legacy that Chávez left for all of us. And this is why in Latin America today we have all these amazing countries that are going against neoliberalism, against imperialism. And it is because of all the 20 years of 21st century socialism. We all are following the footsteps that President Hugo Chávez left behind us, from Honduras all the way to the Patagonia, from the Caribbean all over. This is what we are following. It's time for no return. Latin America is not going back. We're going forward. No more imperialism, no more capitalism, no more liberalism, and yes to socialism in Latin America. Hasta la victoria siempre. Venceremos. ¡Viva las mujeres!
Just really quickly, I was wondering, does everybody want to take a picture before we all leave?
Yes.
Let's take a picture.
Let's
take a picture.
You want to take a candle right here? Take a candle, light it in your house. Keep the light on. The President Hugo Chavez light on.